People often place their faith in religion with their eyes completely closed, because that is exactly what they were taught from the very beginning of their lives. But scattered throughout every era of history are men who use the name of God as a cover for their own personal gratification, spending their days with a different woman, living lives of indulgence and luxury, while the people around them bow in reverence and ask no questions. This story is not against any faith or religion. It is against those specific individuals who fabricate rituals and false traditions in the name of religion, and then use those fabrications to exploit innocent young women for their own selfish desires. The story begins in a small village in the state of Gujarat, India, in the year 1832. In this village, a child is born into a happy and thriving family. The boy looks so remarkably like his grandfather that the family decides to name him after the old man. His name is Krishna Das. From his earliest years, Krishna Das cannot stand the word Das attached to his name. As the years pass and Krishna grows older, his questions grow faster than he does. One day during a worship ceremony, Krishna watches as the pundit drops grains of food into a fire. He immediately turns to the pundit and asks, "Why did you put grain into the fire?" The pundit answers warmly, "Because it goes directly to God, my child." Without missing a beat, Krishna asks, "Does God know what fire is?" The room goes completely silent. Nobody quite knows what to do with a child like this. When Krishna reaches the age of 10, his mother passes away. His father remarries not long after, and Krishna's maternal uncle steps in and brings the boy to Mumbai. At this time, Mumbai is under British rule, but the people of this city worship someone of their own entirely. They worship a man known as JJ. To the people of Mumbai, JJ is not just a religious leader. He is God himself. His estate, the mansion, sits at the center of their entire world, and the home of Krishna's uncle happens to be just a short distance away from it. Time continues to pass, and Krishna grows into a young man with a deeply revolutionary way of thinking. One day, the festival of Holi arrives. Holi is a vibrant Hindu spring festival celebrated primarily in India and Nepal, marking the end of winter and the triumph of good over evil. Often called the Festival of Colors, it features people joyfully smearing bright powdered colors on one another, feasting, and dancing together. And the entire city is alive with color and celebration. Krishna hurries home, puts color on his sister-in-law first, as is tradition, and then sets out to find Kishori, the girl he is engaged to marry. When Krishna finds Kishori and tries to apply color to her, she refuses him and pulls back. She tells him plainly that she will not play Holi until JJ has been colored first, because the entire city waits for JJ to begin before anyone else celebrates. Krishna finds this strange, but decides to let it go and goes along with her to the mansion. Inside the mansion, JJ is present, and the people are playing Holi before him. At a certain moment, JJ rises from his seat and is the first to apply color to Kishori, singling her out from among all the women present. He then invites her to his private chamber for what is known as Charan Seva, religious sexual exploitation disguised as ritual service. Kishori's entire family is overjoyed because JJ chose their daughter from among every woman in the city. Being selected for Charan Seva is considered an honor, something to be proud of. Kishori makes her way to JJ's private chamber inside the mansion, while Krishna is out searching for her all over the city. He finally runs into Kishori's younger sister, who tells him that JJ has selected Kishori for Charan Seva and that she has gone to his room. Krishna has no idea what Charan Seva actually means or involves. He decides to find out for himself and goes directly to the mansion. The moment he arrives, the gatekeeper stops him and tells him that if he wants to observe, he may do so only from the upper window. Krishna goes upstairs and finds a group of people already standing at the window, looking down below. He moves to an empty spot, looks through the window, and what he sees makes the blood drain completely from his face. Kishori is with JJ. This is what Charan Seva means. This is what it has always meant. Krishna shouts Kishori's name and forces his way through the door and into the room. The people watching from above yell down at him, telling him he is interfering with something sacred and that he will bring sin upon himself. Krishna ignores every word and tells Kishori to come with him. But Kishori responds calmly and tells him to go ahead and that she will follow him home later. Unable to process what he is seeing and feeling, and unable to force her, Krishna walks away in silence. He goes home and breaks down completely. The person he loved most in the world was with another man, and the people around her called it worship. The following morning, Kishori comes to Krishna to explain herself. Krishna refuses to engage with her. Kishori tells him that what happened was not wrong, that every woman goes through Charan Seva, and that this practice has existed for generations and generations. Krishna does not accept a single word of it. He tells her clearly that a woman's body belongs first and only to her husband. What happened is not tradition. It is a betrayal. He breaks off the engagement and walks away. Kishori goes to JJ and tells him that Krishna has ended the engagement and refused to marry her. JJ wraps his words around her like a blanket and tells her not to worry. He tells her she is special to him and that he is with her. Kishori feels chosen and important and falls asleep right there in his room, genuinely believing those words. The next morning she wakes up and JJ is gone. She asks a woman nearby where he is and is told he is gone for the evening prayer. Kishori walks outside feeling light and almost happy. Then she notices JJ's sandals placed outside a nearby door. She moves closer and, through the closed door, she hears JJ's voice saying the exact same words he said to her. Word for word, "You are special to me. From this day forward, I am with you." Everything clicks into place in an instant. She pushes the door open and finds her own younger sister inside the room. Kishori pulls her sister out, strikes her once across the face, and pushes her toward the door. Then she turns to JJ and tells him in a voice shaking with anger, "I believed you were God, but you are nothing more than an ordinary man who uses a different woman every single day and calls it religion." She walks out in tears. Kishori goes home and tells her sister that JJ is a fraud and that he's no God at all. And for the first time since everything happened, the words Krishna once said to her come rushing back. He had been right about everything. What belonged to Krishna was given to someone who never deserved it. On the other side of the city, Krishna's uncle is furious with him for breaking the engagement and tells him he must go back to Kishori and make things right. When Krishna flatly refuses, his uncle throws him out of the house. Around the same time, we see another scene unfolding at the mansion. JJ's gatekeeper informs him that a man named Shyam and his sister Lalavdi are at the door asking to see him. JJ goes out to meet them. Shyam speaks first and tells JJ, with desperation in his voice, that the honor of his family now rests in his hands because his sister Lalavdi is carrying his child. JJ listens without flinching and tells Shyam he knows a doctor. He should take his sister there and end the pregnancy. This enrages Shyam, and he lunges forward to attack JJ. JJ's attendants restrain him before he can touch him. Then Lalavdi drops to JJ's feet and tells him that this child belongs to God. She will give it life. Without changing his expression, JJ hands Lalavdi a sweet laddu, telling her it is a blessed offering. The moment both of them step outside the mansion, the laddu begins doing its work, and Lalavdi is in tremendous distress. JJ has poisoned the offering to force a miscarriage. It is at this exact moment that Krishna happens to be walking nearby and notices Shyam and Lalavdi in crisis. He tells them to stay right there and runs to find a cart to take Lalavdi to a healer. But when he returns, they have both completely disappeared. Krishna runs to find Lavanji, another Maharaj within the mansion who he believes might know something. When he asks Lavanji if he has seen the two people who were just outside, Lavanji looks at him with a kind of tired and resigned sadness and says that this mansion has swallowed far too many innocent people over the years. Krishna pushes him and asks directly why someone like him who knows the truth does not speak out against JJ. Lavanji lowers his head and says quietly that all of the mansion's wealth and donations come through JJ. Without him, none of them have anything. Speaking against him is not a possibility. Krishna leaves feeling hollow. He goes to find Naroji, a trusted and respected figure in the city who has been like a guiding elder to him. Krishna tells him everything about the mansion and what JJ is doing to these women and says plainly that the truth must be brought out into the open. Naroji listens and then says that if even Lavanji, who lives inside those walls, cannot do anything, what chance do they have from the outside? He tells Krishna gently that if he truly wants to create change, the first step is within himself. He should forgive Kishori and give her a chance to move forward. Krishna hears this and agrees. He makes up his mind that very day. He will go to Kishori and ask for her forgiveness as much as he will offer his own. But before he can take a single step in that direction, a man comes running toward him and tells him to come immediately. When Krishna arrives at the spot the man leads him to, he finds a crowd gathered around Kishori. She had been unable to live with the weight of what had happened and took her own life. Krishna is utterly devastated. He has lost the person closest to him because of what JJ's system did to her. Kishori's younger sister approaches Krishna through the crowd and hands him a folded letter. She tells him that Kishori asked her to give it to him before she was gone. Krishna opens it and reads. In the letter, Kishori asks him to forgive her. She tells him that everything he said about JJ was the truth. She writes that now it is his responsibility to expose JJ's true face to the world, because if he does not, countless other women will suffer exactly what she suffered. She tells him that the day he brings JJ's truth into the light is the day she will know she has been truly forgiven. Krishna folds the letter and walks directly to JJ's mansion. He calls JJ out, and when JJ appears, Krishna tells him with complete steadiness in his voice that the war has officially begun and that he will expose him to the entire world. JJ looks at him with arrogance and says he is just a young boy and that there is nothing he can do. The next day, Krishna takes a letter to Naroji and asks him to print it in his newspaper. Naroji reads it and refuses. The letter directly names and attacks JJ. Naroji tells him that JJ has thousands of devoted followers. Publishing something this direct and this serious could provoke riots and endanger lives. Shorab and Gopalji, both present at this meeting, agree with Naroji's concern. Krishna is left without a platform to tell the truth, so he decides to build one himself. He starts his own publication and names it Satya Prakash, which means the light of truth. The first issue is printed and ready to distribute. A kind but elderly man who works with Krishna takes the entire printed stack of copies and sets out to distribute them across the city before evening. But on the way, he is surrounded by JJ's men who take all of the copies by force and bring them to the mansion. JJ reads through the publication, and his face fills with rage. He immediately issues an order that all of the mansion doors are to be shut from this moment forward. No morning prayers. No evening prayers. Nothing. Lavanji warns him that the people will not eat a single bite of food without having performed their morning sighting of the deity. JJ smiles at this and says that is precisely the point. He sends word to be declared publicly outside that the doors of the mansion will remain closed until Krishnadas comes forward and publicly apologizes to JJ in front of everyone. He is counting on the people's hunger and desperation to do his work for him and drag Krishna to his feet. The following day, crowds fill the streets outside the mansion, demanding that Krishna apologize. But Krishna has already thought through this moment and prepared for it. He arrives carrying a small statue of the deity and places it under a tree outside. He addresses the crowd and tells them all that God is not confined to the walls of the mansion. The same God who lives inside is present here too, and God has always lived within each of them. They can worship right here today, and that worship will be just as complete and just as valid. The people hear him and accept his words. Lavanji himself comes outside and conducts the morning prayer right there under the open sky. JJ watches all of this from an upper window of the mansion, furious and humiliated because his plan has completely collapsed. Shortly after this, a young woman named Viraj comes to Krishna and tells him she wants to work with him at the Satya Prakash publication. Krishna agrees to take her on, but tells her honestly that he has no money to pay her. Viraj tells him that is not a problem and joins him anyway. Meanwhile, JJ is working on a new strategy. He summons Krishna's father from Gujarat and meets with him privately. He tells the father that his son's wings have grown too large and that if something happens to the boy, the responsibility will not be JJ's. Krishna's father goes to his son and hands him a letter. In the letter, written in his father's hand, is a declaration that from this day forward Krishna is no longer his son and has no claim to any family property. The father was hoping that this ultimatum would finally make Krishna stop. But Krishna does not stop. He publishes the letter in his own paper, making the disownment public because this too is part of the truth people deserve to see. His father leaves crushed. One afternoon, Krishna stands alone in a quiet spot in the city, carrying the weight of everything he has lost. He tells Viraj when she finds him that slowly, because of JJ, everything he ever loved has been taken from him. His family, his future, the person he was going to build a life with. JJ sees that his strategy of shutting the mansion failed him completely, so he abandons it and finds a new weapon. He files a 500 rupee defamation lawsuit against Krishna. When Krishna hears about this, he is shaken because he has neither that kind of money nor witnesses he can count on to testify against someone as powerful and feared as JJ. But then Gopalji arrives with a group of men behind him. Every one of them is willing to testify against JJ in court. JJ had done to the women and their families exactly what he did to Kishori. Their anger has been sitting quietly for years, and now they finally have a reason and a platform to let it out. Krishna prepares. He goes to JJ's mansion with his lawyer and gives him a final warning. He tells JJ directly that he will expose him completely and that the process has already begun. Then he turns and walks away. But the very next morning, word reaches Krishna that JJ has personally threatened every single one of his witnesses and made it clear that those who testify will face serious consequences. Before Krishna can figure out his next move, someone runs to him and pulls him outside. He looks up and sees his Satya Prakash building in flames. JJ had it burned. Krishna sits down in the street, feeling hollowed out. Viraj sits beside him and refuses to let him stay in that place for long. Then another man approaches and tells Krishna that JJ's own wife has asked to speak with him privately. Krishna goes to her immediately. JJ's wife hands him a small piece of paper with an address written on it and tells him that if he goes there, he will find a witness capable of ending JJ's case entirely. Krishna goes to that address without wasting a moment. He steps into a small house and comes face to face with Shyam and Lilavdi, the same two people he tried to help outside the mansion on the night of the poison offering. They are alive. JJ's wife had brought them inside and treated Lilavdi with ginger water until the effects were reversed and the baby was safe. Krishna listens to everything Shyam tells him. Shyam says that before Krishna could return with the cart that night, JJ's men had already shown up and forcibly taken both of them inside the mansion, where JJ's wife quietly nursed Lilavdi back to health and kept them hidden and safe. Now both Shyam and Lilavdi are willing and ready to testify against JJ in open court. For the first time since this fight began, Krishna has a witness who can genuinely damage JJ's case. He goes back and has the Satya Prakash office rebuilt and begins preparing in earnest for the court hearing. But JJ is never finished. The moment he learns that Lilavdi is Krishna's witness, he moves fast. He has Lilavdi taken during the night and arranges an immediate marriage between her and one of his own servants. His strategy is simple and calculated. If Lilavdi is married to the servant, the court will be told the child belongs to the servant and not to JJ. Just like that, Krishna's most powerful piece of evidence is dismantled before the hearing even begins. It seems like JJ has found a way around everything once again. But Krishna does not abandon the fight. The court date arrives. On the morning of the hearing, thousands of JJ's devoted followers pour into the streets outside the courthouse. They carry his name on banners and on their tongues. Some of them lay their bare hands on the ground as a path for JJ to walk on into the building. He is escorted through the crowd with full ceremonial honor as though entering a sacred space. Krishna stands nearby and watches all of this. But he does not flinch. When the hearing begins, the first witness called by Krishna's lawyer is JJ's own personal physician, a doctor who treated him on multiple occasions over many years. The doctor takes the stand and tells the court clearly and without hesitation that JJ has what is medically known as Chanikarag, syphilis, a disease that develops specifically in men who engage in intimate relations with multiple women. He knows this because he treated JJ directly on several occasions and was once his personal doctor. JJ immediately jumps in and says the doctor must have heard incorrectly. He says what he actually said was Chanikarag, moon sickness, which is simply a common skin condition involving boils. A mistake in listening, nothing more. The doctor turns to him without any calm left and says directly that JJ is lying. He tells the court that if there is any doubt whatsoever, any independent physician can be brought in to conduct a medical examination right now, and the truth will be established immediately. JJ goes very still. Then JJ's servant is called to testify. Krishna's lawyer asks him simply when he and Lilavdi were married. The servant answers nervously and says it was about 8 months ago. But then, without being asked, without any prompt at all, he blurts out that the child in her womb is his. The lawyer pauses and says that he never suggested otherwise. He asks the servant why he keeps repeating that fact when the question was only about the marriage. The servant realizes he has walked directly into the trap he was supposed to be avoiding. The lawyer then makes it plain to the court that the child belongs to JJ, and that the marriage to the servant was arranged overnight specifically to obscure that fact. JJ can barely contain himself. He turns to the lawyer and warns him that outside those doors are thousands of people who consider him their god. If those people hear that their god is being accused of something this serious, there is no telling what they will do, and the consequences will be entirely the lawyer's fault. Then it is Krishna's turn. He stands before the court and speaks. He tells everyone present that Charan Seva is wrong, that a woman's right belongs first to her husband, that no tradition built on exploitation deserves to carry the name of God. He speaks with full force and with the kind of clarity that comes from real grief and real loss. He says everything he has carried since the day he saw what was done to Kishori and everything that has happened since. When he finishes, he asks the court if anyone stands with what he has said. For a long and brutal moment, no one moves. JJ begins to rise from his seat with a satisfied and contemptuous look on his face. He believes he has won again. But then a voice comes from the back of the room. It belongs to Krishna's sister-in-law, who says clearly and without wavering that she stands with him. The room shifts. One person rising gives the next person permission to rise. Then another. Then several more. Word reaches the crowd outside, and something breaks open out there too. The people who came to cheer JJ begin to look at each other differently. JJ loses the case. The defamation suit against Krishna is dismissed entirely. JJ walks out of the courthouse, and the crowd that laid their hands on the ground for him just hours ago now watch him with contempt. Nobody is shouting his name anymore. Nobody is placing flowers at his feet. He walks past them quietly, smaller than he has ever been. And Krishna walks out behind him, finally surrounded by people who are seeing clearly for the first time. That is where the story ends. Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell icon so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. See you in the next one. Till then, bye-bye, take care.